We're recording. Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
Hi to our Visionary Leaders Book Club. I am Dr. Josie Schmidt.
Dr. Mica Carew.
And Mica Carew are here. This is kind of going to be like, we're not just going to read to you. No, we're going to we got to talk. It's kind of going to be like Doc Talk, but with a cool book. Mm-hmm. But it's not just one book. So we said the main book. So can you hold that up, Mica? The Soul of Money by Lynn Twist. This is our main book that we're kind of highlighting today and jumping off. But really, we also then, we're going to have a break. We're going to give you guys some homework. We're going to talk about all these principles and for 2 weeks. And then we're going to come back on the 24th. And then we're going to dive into the Diamond Cutter, this book. And so we will post that as well. You don't have to buy it. The reason we didn't pick this book was it's a little meaty, right? The print's really little. That's what we're here for. We're going to bring you the juicy tips and pearls and nuggets, and we're going to break it apart. And we're going to work on that on the 24th and the 31st with some of Geshe Michael Roach's work. And again, continue on. We've told you guys about this idea of a blueprint. We want to give you these specific exercises that you can start working with within your consciousness in your daily life, help shifting and changing the flow of energy and your relationship psychologically, energetically, in your attention, in your vision maker, all of how you manifest, how money and your relationship with it is connecting and flowing. So let's get started on talking about the soul of money.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so everyone, here's your hot beverage. Get it if you don't have it.
I'm actually two-fisted. I have two.
Me too. I have my big.
You have two, okay.
Yeah, I'm a liquid girl.
Yeah.
So before we dive in, I want to say that whenever I read a book, and maybe this is because I'm an activator and a motivator, but when I
you are.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Big time. Okay.
When I read a book, I'm always looking at it of how does it apply to me? How can I use the principles and how can I put it into action? So that's where I'm coming. That's why I suggested to Dr. Josie that we use this book, The Soul of Money and the Diamond Cutter. So if you look at this, it has lots. I keep it in my bag at all times to refer to it. Okay, so and actually I'm borrowing this one from my very good friend, Hillary.
And I borrowed this one from you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I said, that's not a good idea because it's going to get worn. She said, don't worry about it.
I was like, I'm a huge underliner.
Yeah.
Dog ear and then all of that.
So these two books are something that I would say, keep in your bag and refer to them all the time. Because when you have a subconscious pattern going on and you've had it all your life, it's going to take some doing to unwind that, right? But we're going to give you a tool, help change your blueprint, but that's not going to change overnight. It's going to take practice, but we're going to go through that. By the end of today, you will have a really good practice, okay? Now, the other thing before we get started is my team has read and are using these two books, you guys, and it has changed my relationship and deepened my relationship to the individuals on my team. And it's also enhanced their business and our business together because the subconscious is changing and there's a different relationship within myself, right? I'm having a different relationship with myself and understanding of what I was doing and then what that was kind of expressing in the outside world. And we're going to get more into that. So the other thing that I think is really important is when I read The Soul of Money specifically, is I'm reading it through my doTERRA lens. And doTERRA is a really big part of my life. So how am I using these principles for my doTERRA business? And also, what I loved about this book is it really reinforced, I'm going to put the book up again, it really reinforced my dedication to the principles of doTERRA and the intention and the ethical principles of doTERRA and how they run the doTERRA business, and how they're at convention and at leadership, they're very clear how they want us to all stay in integrity and also help with better practices to help support the planet, help support the farmers, all the different healing hands and co-impact sourcing. A lot of companies, you've all heard this, but when you, and if you're on this call, that doTERRA does these things. But when you start to read a book like this and understand that so many companies don't do this and don't what's the word? So don't apply the integrity principles, then I don't know what I was saying. Go ahead, Josie. Sorry, I just lost track of my.
And you just said something we were talking beforehand, even I wanted even, do a prelude for the diamond cutter and how from this to diamond cutter. And so much of, the book club is about, right? We're reading things when we say mindset and what we need to work on. It's our consciousness. It is our subconscious, right? We were talking, Dr. Jenny had she's been doing lives about subconscious. Like, this rules everything,
right?
Us. And so I loved how one of our favorite words with being a spiritual and integrous walker and person in the world is unwinding. Right?
Yeah.
That's how we work through our stuff. This is how we heal on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level. It doesn't just happen, and we know this from the oils. It doesn't just happen. It's not like one pill. It's not like one oil. And you don't just boom, get rid of a subconscious belief and okay, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
You unwind through the process. This is life. And sometimes unwinding is uncomfortable because we on this level. So we're working with mindset, right? We're working with our subconscious mind. And what these books are asking you to do is to look at your unconscious beliefs and thoughts that have solidified into beliefs and points of view that you haven't even questioned before. And when you start to do that, it's uncomfortable. There's an unwinding. Some of that's going to happen the same way you've gone through a cleanse with us. Sometimes it gets uncomfortable. Your gut is unwinding. Your immune system is unwinding. Things are happening, for the better, but there's a process.
Yeah.
So in this, Lynn, we're gonna start with this place and then take it to this other place with the diamond cutter. And can you say, what's so amazing about this diamond cutter book is this is a Western man who became not only just a Buddhist monk, but a geshe, highest level kind of order. And his teacher, when he, got to that point, was like, great. He wasn't like, great, now you're going to stay in the monastery and meditate all day. Like, great. Now, to really learn to walk the principles, I'm sending you out into the world, into the business world.
Yeah.
You need to go, because business is where spirituality walks in action.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is where you're going to really practice day by day, walking the practice and deepen into it. So what were some of the things you were saying, Mica, about about how you were kind of synopsizing the diamond cutter.
Well, that, with the diamond cutter, our doTERRA is a perfect platform to practice the diamond cutter, right? Because it's right here. We're doing business. We're doing ethical business, right? We're connecting with an ethical company. We believe in these beautiful plant spirit medicine, right? And we're giving back to the land, giving back to the people. Okay, so that's all set. That's all good. And then in our daily life, we're working with doTERRA. We're working with people. We're helping them to rise up. You'll read this in the diamond cutter. One of the biggest things that's helpful, one of the biggest practices is to help somebody else to rise up in their business.
Yeah.
And so here we have the perfect platform. doTERRA is the perfect platform. And I also was wondering, in my mind as I was reading these two books, I was wondering, did doTERRA seek out Lynn Twist, and because they're really big business people,
yeah,
and the diamond cutter Geshe Lama, to get some advice, to get a template, because it's so affirming to the doTERRA principles, or the doTERRA.
Right. I love in the diamond cutter, he has pictures, and he has a section of all these incredible CEOs and business people who have learned and walked with him, and the success that they have had. And so.
Okay, so remember, we're going to get started. Remember to use your personal lens when you're reading Lynn Twist and the diamond cutter. And let's get started. So I'm going to start on page 17 if you have the book. And I just love this because it'll kind of put it all in context. Can you hear me? Because I'm pretty congested. Okay. On page 17, if you have it, on the Soul of Money, the title is Making a Living That Affirms Life. This is so true. Each of us experiences a lifelong tug of war between our money interests and the calling of our soul. Well, I used to, but now I don't. And because of these two books. So I used to experience that tug of war, but I can tell you, for me and a lot of my team members, that's moving out for sure, because we have a different framework now. When we're in the domain of soul, we act with integrity. We are thoughtful and generous, allowing, courageous, and committed. We recognize the value of love and friendship. We admire a small thing well done. We experience moments of awe in the presence of nature and its unrefined beauty. We are open, vulnerable, and heartfelt. We have the capacity to be moved, and generosity is natural. See, I think all of these things of my team now, and I see it, makes me want to cry. We are trustworthy and trusting of others, and our self-expression flourishes. We feel at peace within ourselves and confident that we are an integral part of a larger, more universal experience, something greater than ourselves. When we enter the domain of money, there often seems to be a disconnect from the soulful person we have known ourselves to be. Not anymore, though, for me, you guys, or my team members. It is as if we are suddenly transported to a different playing field where all the rules have changed. And I'm going to stop there because I want to tell you that doing the practice that we're going to talk about today and then help work through by the end of the month, I know that if you stay with it, that feeling of disconnect is going to transform. I'm watching it with my team. I'm seeing it with Josie. We've been working on this together. So, and with Aisha. So
we've been cutting diamonds.
Yeah, we have been cutting diamonds. So let's keep moving. We're going to talk about some of the main things in Lynn Twist's book, okay? So she talks about the toxic myths of scarcity. Do you want to read about scarcity, Josie?
Oh
No.
no, I'm reading it about you're gonna do that. So I'm reading.
Oh yeah. Okay. So let's start talking about scarcity. This is so great, you guys. So when you
there's the three
toxic myths
this is the
of
first
scarcity.
okay.
And that's on, it's chapter 3. Is it chapter 3? It's on page 48 if you have the book. Scarcity is a lie. That's on page 47. That just popped up. And there's so many different things that we could, scarcity is a lie, page 3. There is a natural law of abundance which pervades the entire universe, but it will not flow through a doorway of belief in lack and limitation. I mean, that's by Paul Zader. That's at the top.
I'm gonna go back and forth between screen sharing because we have little thing everyone. So here you go. While we're starting, look at that. Do you guys see that?
Oh yeah, that's so beautiful. Good job, Josie. There's a natural law of abundance which pervades the entire universe, but it will not flow through a doorway of belief in lack and limitation. Paul Zader. 3 toxic myths about money. Okay, and this is from the book Soul of Money by Lynn Twist. The paradigm in which we live. Yes, so the first thing she says, this is not the toxic myth yet. The paradigm in which we live, some conscious myths which make us look out into the world even before we think.
These are buried deep. And there's, that layers upon layers. You can keep digging layers deep in here about these. And Mica and I were preparing for the call yesterday. We were, satsanging about the different ones and talking, and we want to talk into each of them, and we have points, but it's like you start doing that and you dig in here with honesty in yourself, first surrender, and really in a beautiful surrendered place of truth and honesty within for yourself. And start digging in, especially with someone you love and you trust, like Mica and I we can do this with each other. It was great. We started unpacking all the stuff we want to share. Okay.
Yeah, it was crunchy. It was uncomfortable. So, but we, it's just like, let's just say it like it is. This is what my scarcity pattern is. This is the one I vibe with the most. This is the one I want to transform. So when we unpack the mindset of scarcity, we find 3 central myths that have come to define our relationship with money and that block our access to more honest and fulfilling interactions with it. Love that. So that's just something I got from that chapter. So the first myth is there's not enough. There's not enough to go around. Everyone can't make it.
No.
Somebody is going to be left out. No. There are way too many people. There's not enough food. There's not enough water. There's just not enough.
There's not enough. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, this is huge. Let me go. I read it it was on the BOGO page, and there was some, I don't know if they're newer people, but I've heard this, this is, I think, people first coming in, working with essential oils. This thought goes through their mind and they see it on the internet. This is came from other companies and especially herbalists on the internet who are like, essential oils take so much land. They're concentrated, and you have this much, to do this much, right? We have our things of how many lavender leaves, how many rose petals for a drop of rose. And then they twist that into scarcity. And they say, so therefore, you just shouldn't use that many oils, and you need to cut them all with carrier oil, and this stuff is so precious, you just want to use a tiny bit. Because you're gonna use up all of the earth's resources planting essential oils. So let's look at, I was like, really? Let's unpack that. If we actually were able to plant most of the world's resources for medicinal herbal plants, and the people in all of the world and all of the developing nations got to do that and had market price for that, our world would be the most amazing place. Right. Oh my God, that would cure hunger and poverty and medicine needs, actually. Mm-hmm. Everything we know about what doTERRA is doing with co-impact sourcing in the world, the more land that we need that we can plant with these oils in this ethical and amazing way of working with the people and bringing them better pricing and planting these, it's incredible. So that was, I mean, there you go. That's just right up. That was a first thing, but we want to get into so much more on personal levels. About the scarcity.
But before you go on, I just want to say, when we talk about these myths of scarcity, there's a constriction. There's an energetic and physical constriction and limitation, and it goes back to that. The lack of flow, right? Our little poem that I read at the beginning, the lack of flow, is that when there's any constriction, there's lack of flow. And so you can't see the possibility of how that's helping, or how that could help, how that's helping people, helping the farmers, helping the indigenous people maintain their right livelihood, right? In a really ethical way. And so thanks for bringing that up, Josie. I just want to say, because I am from an indigenous culture, that hits me really hard, this whole co-impact sourcing thing. And I get it. I get it on a deep level, how to help indigenous people maintain their way of life and not imposing on them something that they don't want, and asking them what they need. Like, what do you need? We need water. Great. We will help you source water. I'm getting off topic a little bit, but not really.
That was a real concern of yours. I remember your first connection. You're like, wait a minute. Mm-hmm. Are they just coming in like the old tradition of like, we're going to help you, we think help people? And no, that's not what they're doing.
No, and as a matter of fact, they spent some time with me and one of my team members, Julie Conachero, because we both had that idea, and we needed some clarity, and they spent a lot of time with us, talking to us, and they were in such integrity to make sure that we understood that they were not imposing anything, but completely just there to support and have a reciprocal relationship, an ethical, integrous relationship with who they were working with. And one more thing just reminded me with the soul of money, what Lynn talks about is resource, that she doesn't even use the word poor, that people are resource rich in different ways. And some might be paper money, and others might be like the how to read the wind and the earth. Like she works with indigenous people at the Amazon, and that's a resource rich, or resource rich with how they understand the what they're cultivating, right, and farming. And that's an amazing, rich practice to know when to pick, how to pick. The lineage of education or passed down from lineage to lineage to lineage, generation to generation to generation. That's resource rich. So she doesn't even use the word, and she doesn't use the word poor. And doTERRA gets that. That's why I'm wondering, did they get Lynn Twist on the scene? Okay. So then there's not enough.
Yeah.
And I just want to simplify it down to, how have I heard this? How have I experienced this in my own life with my doTERRA business? And, or in my naturopathic, my doctor business. I haven't experienced this personally, so I just want to be truthful about this. But I've heard from my team members, the doTERRA business is saturated in Portland. I shouldn't even try. Like, everyone already knows about doTERRA. Right. Everyone's already been enrolled in Portland with doTERRA. So that's really, then you're not even like open to the possibility of the people out there that aren't enrolled in doTERRA that are in Portland. And there's so many, Larry Spielberg talks about that, like, yeah, maybe in the yoga studios, but not even that, you guys. That it might be saturated, which is still not true in the yoga studios, but that there's so many places that that Portland is not saturated with doTERRA. So that's just a really simple example of how I've seen it.
I want to talk about that idea of the constriction and what's happening when we are in one of these myth mindsets. And I like to call it a point of view.
Yeah.
What's happening with when you're in the subconscious mind and you're in one of these old grooves, it's myopic. So you are, and that's the constricture. You're stuck in this singular lane, this myopic one point of view, and that's it. And it's old. It's not even yours. You've learned it way back on your grandma and ma's and dad's knees when you were like 2 and 3 and listening to your family of origin and their mythic ideas about these things. It's so behind there, you don't even realize it. And it's the singular point of view. And that constricture holds you tight. Yeah. And that's what we want to help break out from. Because when you can break out from that singular point of view that's not even yours, that's the subconscious mind is not your friend. That's when you can, when people say God or grace, like I'm going to leave it up to grace. Grace is the hundreds of millions of thousands of other points of view that's not that.
Yeah. Good one.
It's all the points of view that you can't see. Mm-hmm. Grace is what's going to come in and bless your life from an angle and a point of view that you never could have thought of yourself. Yeah. That's how that happens. But you have to get out of that constricture to open yourself up to the possibilities of the higher viewpoints. I'm going to call that the higher viewpoints. Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's so great. Yeah. So I want to interweave then. So what I call it is, okay, I just noticed that I live in this scarcity, this toxic myth one. There's just not enough, right? Oh, I analyze it. So what we're asking you to do is not just with your doTERRA business, but in life, because you'll notice it now that we're talking about it. If you live by that toxic myth, then you'll start noticing it everywhere. Like, there's not enough. I need that coffee because there's just not going to be enough. I got to get that last piece of toast because there's just not going to be any more. I have to say, I live this myth too with my husband. It comes out with my husband. So I just realized that right now. So I'm going to work on that because, I grew up in a family. I was the last of 4. My brother, you were going to talk about your family stuff too, but I just want to out myself. Yeah, right here. I want to out myself. My brother was a football player and he would eat a lot of food. And then he would eat my middle sister's food. And then my middle sister would go for my food. And then I'd be like, there's just not enough. And so now with my husband, he does that. And I'll just be like, I just realized that I'm going to make my food and I'm going to put it in this bowl and I'm going to guard it. Because I don't want it now, but I want it for later. So I want to unpack that for myself. And I want to tell you how I'm going to do that because this is.
Yeah. You know what I realized, Meek?
What?
I think we have to go over the process to then, because now we're going to do the examples of the 3 myths and the actual solution, right?
Yeah.
So practice. Do we want to take a break here and come back to that because you're about to give an example?
Okay.
Or how do you want to, yeah, you know what I mean? Because we have it so layered together, everyone.
Okay, and it's gonna be too much.
Well, no, I'm saying you're about to go into the antidote, right? Like,
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
want to describe that general idea of the antidote and the practice?
Oh, okay. So the antidote, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to screen share.
Yeah.
And okie doke. So we're in the toxic myth number 1. There's not enough, right? We have 3 of the myths. We're going to go through examples of these, and then the antidote, which is really the beginning of your blueprint.
Yeah.
The first exercise. So we're going to describe that now, creating the blueprint for success with your flow of energy and money. And the first step is what we're calling the lying down meditation. So it's these 4 steps. So we were going to go through this, and then we're going to go back through the examples, and we're going to give examples of how you would do that.
Yeah. Okay. So identify the myths. So I just identified that I have some toxic myth 1, right? There's not enough. So how I would antidote that, it's called an antidote, is I would want to start sharing my food with Will. So physically going, I'm going to give this, because I'm changing the pattern, right? Instead of like hoarding and feeling like there's not enough, then actually giving him my food and watching myself give him the food. Okay, so it's sharing, or sharing my oils with somebody that doesn't have the oils.
I'm not going to share my Helichrysum or Melissa, like there's not enough of that.
Yeah, right?
Like,
yeah.
But what you're saying is identifying the myth is really the limitation, the constriction.
Yeah,
the constriction around the scarcity, and the practice. And then the first thing, the active antidote changing, is then doing the opposite.
Yeah, doing the opposite.
In an action. So we're saying actively antidote, change the toxic myth in your daily life. So that requires action. So it's in little moments, right? You're sort of saying, like, yes, I have that feeling of like, I got to squirrel away. I totally have this too, Mica, right?
Yeah.
Squirrel away the good stuff, or it's going to get all eaten by my sisters.
Yeah.
And, or like I was saying, like yesterday, I was like, yeah, I want that. There's this waitress is bringing, we both ordered pie, and there's 2 pieces of the pie, and there's a bigger piece. Why don't you have it? Rather than like, I want the better piece. So it's that conscious noticing little itty bitty things. You're saying like about a pencil, like, or pen, like, oh, this is my good pen. I don't want to share it because someone might take it. Would you like to use my pen? Right? Noticing that. And
I want to talk about a doTERRA example. Is then if you feel like there's not enough, that is saturated, then you just start talking about the oils.
What's an equal and opposite reaction to that? There's not enough people.
Yeah, just sample. You start sampling. That's going to change that myth so quickly, because you're actually you're cognizant that you're living by that myth, and you're actually then making an action to change it. And that takes some right? Because you are living in this myth, and it feels really concrete and true, right? So when you want to make a change, it's like, could be a little gritty. So you want to change, you want to start sharing, even if you don't want to, right?
Yeah, and you get your bag with 15, 20 little samples.
Yeah.
There are 20 people out there today who need these oils.
Yeah.
Who are going to show themselves to me that I can share these oils with them.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the number 3 is very, very important, and it's overlooked. So this idea of while you're doing, so we're talked about first noticing. It takes the notice and the awareness. My teacher always has he has a statement that I love. It says recognition is enough. Just recognizing that is like the first big step. So recognizing in the moment, like, oh, I'm feeling that there's a constriction. Like I don't want to share. I just want to stay in that belief that there's, not enough people. I can't find anyone. But no, I'm going to be active. I'm going to go out there and that's that first step is recognizing. Second is going into action. The third is while you are doing the action. So while you're doing the sharing, or you're offering up your favorite pen, or you're giving your sister the bigger piece of the whatever, you're aware that this is happening and that you're doing it. And as Mica, you want to talk about that, as you're doing it, you are, let's talk about that.
Yeah, in your mind.
Your imagination,
your
mind, your third eye, there's terms for it.
You're actually watching, and I can give you an example, watching your body hand over the oil, and you see the other person, like visualize it, but also when it's happening during the action, you see the person receiving the oil, you see yourself letting go, smiling, and then it's there. See, do you see that flow? So that's the idea, is like your whole consciousness, your body, your whole being is aware that you are changing a pattern. You're giving the oil, or giving the pen, giving the pie, and then the next.
Can I say something? Yeah.
Yes.
I think a great almost visualization is that, imagine that right here, we have our phones and like whatever, there's the recorder right there in the phone, the video recorder. Our video recorder is right here. So every time you're doing that, that's what you're doing. You're turning on your recorder and you're recording, you're making a video in your own mind's eye of yourself doing this action, right? So it's a slightly up level of your conscious awareness of what you're doing. You're doing it, but you're recording yourself while you're doing it, right? That takes another little bit of attention. And so why are you recording it? Because go ahead, number 4, because you're going to rewatch that in your own mind's eye before you go to bed.
Yes. So before you go to bed, or when you're laying your head down, and the diamond cutter says, and we know this to be true, that when you lay your head down is when all the old stuff, the subconscious stuff, comes up to the front. Oh, I didn't do that right. I didn't do that right. I should have done that. No. So what you do is you go, good job, Mica. You gave that person an oil today. Good job. And it's 3 or 4. Good job, Mica. You shared that pie today. Good job, Mica. So so then you're falling asleep to that record. Good job. You shared. Good job. And it's really soothing.
Rewatch in your mind's eye the video recording.
Yeah.
Something that happens in our consciousness and our brain when we visualize it. It takes that next step.
Now, one other thing about this action that I really that he talks about in here, and he has some great YouTubes, diamond cutter YouTube, so you can go to that, and he actually explains the action, is he says actually do it a little slower than you usually would. And so I started practicing that, giving dollar bills to homeless people, and I was really slow and mindful. My daughter and I were doing it, and we still do it, and you know what I noticed, you guys, is that most of the homeless people, yeah, sure, they want the money, but they mostly want connection. And they were they would connect with you and get, and hi, my name is, I had one woman say, thank you, my name is Linda, what is yours? It was like they're doing this, they're in this pattern of asking for money because they need it, but they also wanted something deeper. They wanted connection. They wanted to feel human connection in that way. So you guys can,
for all of us.
yeah, that's for all of us. So slow down. And because when you offer somebody something, even Josie, the cake to your sister, or me, that food, and you do it in a more conscious or mindful way, and it's a little slower, it means more. Just practice it today after this call. And it's like a ceremony. It doesn't have to be like super slow but I mean, there's just a whole different energy about it. There's a flow. Okay, so we better move on to toxic myth number 2.
Okay, I'm gonna go back here. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, toxic myth number 2. More is better. Greed and feeling cheated. Do you want to talk about that one, Josie? You had some.
Yes. So I'm looking at our notes.
Yeah, how does this show up in the doTERRA business, or how does this show up for, yeah, this is a slippery one.
This is the slippery one. This was crunchy. We were
yes.
So the greed and feeling cheated.
Oh gosh.
It starts to unravel into personal responsibility.
Yeah.
And showing up. So there was a lot here for me when I was doing some of my exercises, and feeling of being kind of cheated was really coming up for me, and like unpacking that and all that goes with that, and the idea of and I turned and I did the practice, we're turning it around.
Mm-hmm.
I was, the feeling was, my stuff always gets taken by my sisters. And then now it's in life, like, nothing of mine, it's going to get broken. If I loan it out, it'll get stolen or broken or this. So it was kind of this constriction around sharing, really. And that, to me, that goes deep into the more is better when it has to do with us. It's really that feeling of we are not enough. I am not enough. And so I did this whole exercise of, again, that opposite action, right? So feeling that way, where throughout my entire, went all the way back to as long as I could remember, where did I not tell the truth or cheat or take something that wasn't mine, or, steal something and then break it or something like that. And oh my gosh, all of this stuff was like unearthed out of this, from a lot of my family's money stuff and the scarcity things around that. Do you remember yesterday, Mica, some of what we were crunching into with the notes?
Yeah. So how can this show up in your doTERRA business, not showing up in the ways that are uncomfortable for you? Because then you're being greedy, right? You're feeling cheated. You're being greedy. You're not being a team player.
Like
yeah.
What's really happening when you're willing to be wrong or unwilling to get uncomfortable? When we are unwilling, whose point of view are we solidly sticking to? Is it just your subconscious mind's limitation? That's what that's whose team you want to be on? Yeah. Right? Like that greed, it's so interesting.
It's like this clinging to this, it's like making this subconscious myth the power, the captain, the God, I'm going to live by that. I'm going to live by that. That is truth. And so that's what I love about Lynn Twist's myths, is like, no, actually, this is some weird, not untruth, right? This is not what we should be living by. This is not. So, and it can show,
Oh, sorry.
huh? It can show up in weird, slippery ways, you guys. That's why we're unpacking it like.
It's like slippery, but here's a big one in doTERRA.
Yeah.
And for humanity.
Yes.
Because everything that comes up in doTERRA.
Oh, right.
Such a reflection of everything. It's so
yeah, it's so good.
Wanting something for nothing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. So that's more is better. So because more is me. So we have people, there's a lot of this that happens where there's people in positions where they're earning a paycheck and they're earning money and they're not doing the business. And there's people there's people actively doing the business. And when they ask them for help, they ask them to do a certain this or that or this, they're like, no. But they're unwilling to give up their position. They're unwilling to give up that. That is that integrous. I mean, this is a juicy one. There's a lot going on there. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of subtleties, but that's what we're saying. This gets crunchy. Looking into that, we all do it. The subconscious mind is not clean. No one's, pure from this. Yeah. We all have little bitty instances and bigger instances where we want something for nothing. We feel like so it's the feeling of I deserve it. Mm-hmm. I deserve, fill in the blank. Mm-hmm. Really? Do you really? What do you deserve? A lot of us, we look in the world, our lifestyle, America's carbon emissions, we think we deserve a lot. And I think we're taking up a lot. So me included, like I'm just saying, that's that. So looking into those, where are you wanting someone else to do something for you? There's a lot of stuff that gets unpacked about uplines and downlines and assumptions about what your upline should do for you, right? Mm-hmm. Is that something for nothing? Is that more is better? Like more for me because they're doing something for me. And have I energetically had that? Like, is the exchange progress? Is there exchange there?
And I think that's the biggest thing with myth number 2 is with the exchange. And Lynn Twist and Soul Money and the Diamond Cutter says it needs to be a clean exchange. And it might not be the same. There might be resource richer, and then there's other resource, there's people have different resources. That's why I love how doTERRA uses your strengths finder, because that's where you see where people are resource rich in that they've come into this world having certain resources. So when you're working with your team, it's like, yes, like Michelle Hawkins is resource rich in this way, or Julie Conachero is resource rich in this way, or Dr. Tafakian is resource rich in this way. You come together, and that's what makes a team, and that's what makes a resource rich team, an abundant team. Yeah. You're using these different flows, and it creates a big abundant flow. Instead of getting constricted in like, well, I'm not doing that because I'm uncomfortable, and you can't push through that.
Or I'm not gonna do any more work because I'm not earning a check this month.
Oh, yeah.
Power of 3, so I don't know, my upline can out because it's their power of 3. It's not mine.
Yeah, that's right? Kind of blending into myth 3. So are you ready to talk about?
Well, I want to unpack a little bit the antidote for, because really the more is that wanting something that maybe you haven't truly energetically earned. Mm-hmm. So if you want to be gifted, because that's a gift, then if you want to be gifted things, if you want things to come your way, then give. That's the antidote, is to give. And that's what the whole, we're synopsis, where the whole thing is, if you want to receive more, if you want more abundance, if you want your money blueprint to just flow, It's about generosity and giving.
Yes.
The more you are doing that, the more it will come
Yeah.
to you. So if you are feeling,
Yeah.
if there's that constriction that way, then you antidote it by giving. And we're not saying you have to give money.
No.
Give me a smile.
Mm-hmm.
It's the gift of your attention, as Mica said. Most of the times, if you are focusing your entire heart and your attention when you are giving a 1 or a 5 to someone who is asking for money on the street, let me tell you, that gift of your attention in your heart, much more appreciated and felt, and you will feel that. It's the same thing. So the giving is a state, and she writes beautifully about this. This is a state. Oh, I want to read that right now, right before we go into 3.
Yeah, and I was going to skip the antidote. Hold on. It's personal.
Talk about sufficiency, huh?
Yeah, hold on. Personal responsibility and accountability is basically the antidote. And giving. And before you read that, I just want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
Is about that and appreciating when somebody gives you something. Like the ego trust, we all know this. It is priceless. And what we get at the Eco Trust is priceless in information, right? And people who prepare for the Eco Trust events, it takes a lot of energy. So when you sit there, you can sit there if you haven't been doing it, this is just an example, is just open up to the appreciation of what that person has offered and is offering. And then somehow just being there is a great way for that exchange to happen. Because just having the effort,
find a raffle
there. Yeah.
You're in a state of appreciation.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, well, that's a good antidote.
Huge one is receiving.
Yes.
And really being present and open. This is a huge one for me. I have much more difficulty receiving. And so that's a big practice as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Being able to receive.
Yeah.
Gift. When you are receiving well and in appreciation, that's the gift you're giving the person back. Do you know how fun it is to give a gift that you love and you want to give? And then the gift you get back is the person's really in appreciation and excited when they're just like, great, thanks, and move on. It's like, what? That wasn't a party. I wanted to have a little party.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Good one. Okay, go ahead and read your part.
Okay, so we're talking about more is better, and this is on page 74 of Lynn's book, and it begins kind of the beginning of the second part of her book, and it's the sufficiency chapter, and then she moves into the 3 truths of sufficiency. So that's really beautiful, but I wanted to read this because it's really great.
Yeah.
So sufficiency, reclaiming the power of what is there. We each have the choice in any setting to step back and let go of the mindset of scarcity. Once we let go of scarcity, we discover the surprising truth of sufficiency. By sufficiency, I do not mean a quantity of anything. Sufficiency, I love this. Sufficiency isn't 2 steps up from poverty or 1 step short of abundance.
Yeah.
It isn't a measure of barely enough or more than enough. Sufficiency isn't an amount at all. It's an experience, a context we generate, a declaration, a knowing that there is enough and that we are enough. Sufficiency resides inside each of us, and we can call it forward. It is a consciousness, an attention, an intentional choosing of the way we think about our circumstances. In our relationship with money, it is using money in a way that expresses our integrity, using it in a way that expresses value rather than determines value.
Oh, yeah, so good.
That's a big one to think about, contemplate on that one.
Yeah.
Sufficiency is not a message about simplicity or cutting back or lowering expectations. That was huge for me, right? And I think a lot of us, it's like, oh my God, if I just go and live in an ashram or like get off the grid or like just like cut back everything, then that's gonna, then I'm somehow not part of the problem, right? Mm-hmm. That sufficiency is not a message about simplicity or cutting back or lowering expectations. Simplicity doesn't mean we shouldn't strive or aspire. Sufficiency is an act of generating, distinguishing, and making known to ourselves the power and presence of our existing resources and our inner resources. Existing resources are our inner resources. Mm-hmm. Sufficiency is a context we bring forth from within that reminds us that if we look around us and within ourselves, we will find what we need. There is always enough. Should have ended there.
Yeah. That's so great.
One more myth.
I know we have one more myth. I'm so glad you read that. I just want to say something about that in the Diamond Cutter and the Soul of Money. They both talk about how one of the highest levels of spiritual walking is actually being an integrous business person.
Yeah. And
walking the business by breaking through these myths, by doing this practice, the antidote practice that we're going through.
We're in our bodies. We're in the world. You can't escape, Amazon and Google.
Yeah.
There's a woman, an NPR, great thing where this reporter did weeks of trying to, and she's like, it's basically impossible. It's just an example of how it's so permeated. And the goal is not that. It's not to step away and isolate from life and what the world is today.
Yeah.
It's fully be in life and to be practicing. And we do have to make money. And it's like, this is how we work through our limitations and our stuff. And this is how we grow. And this is how we break through and transform.
And transform the planet. And really help people. I mean, look what doTERRA's doing. I mean, it's integrity within integrity within integrity within integrity in everything that they do. So I'm pretty clear why I'm in doTERRA. It's just not for the oils. So the last toxic myth, that's just the way it is. And that's an intense one.
Can't do anything about it. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I can't do anything about it. That's just the way it is. I'm an introvert. Here's an example, because I know we're almost out of time. I'm an introvert, so I just can't do it. This only happens to Aaron and Aisha, but that's not me. I can never be where they are at because that's just the way it is. That can't happen to me. That's just the way it is. I'm not comfortable teaching classes. That's just the way it is. I have 2 days before I can rank, but it's not going to happen. That's just the way it is. It's almost like even when I'm talking about it, it's like collapsing of the spirit, right? That's just the way it is. So that's what that's toxic.
This is the myth of this is tamas. If you know anything about Rajas, Sattva, and Tamas, the three gunas in the Vedic system, tamas is inertia.
Yeah. It feels like when I was talking about it, was just like this, this collapsing. So the antidote, do you want to say anything more about that, Josie?
No, I think it's good. Yeah. The antidote is this action, right? Yeah. It's like reaching out from the inertia.
Yeah. And when you're in that state, that's just the way it is. It's why you've got to really muster up the energy because you're in that myth and it's full. And you just got to I am going to go out and I am going to teach a class, or I am going to share one oil today. These are just examples. I am going.
And sometimes it's even like, I'm going to go, because let's think about how we can shift our energy.
Yeah.
I realize I'm just like, oh my God, I'm in the total inertia.
Yeah.
Energy and that myth. So it's like, go move your body. Just move. Get out of the house, take
Yeah.
a walk, go exercise, take a yoga class, do what you do to move. Or put some oils on. Like,
Yeah, right.
the blends that are going to enliven you and open you up and lift the energy, right? We have umpteen million great blends for that. All those things, but really it's also, that's within you, but really we're talking about this practice of turning that around. And so you just can't do anything about it. Well, what can you do about it? You can, and we're saying, go and do some action. And sometimes it's a little steps before you get to even the sampling.
Yeah, right. And then also what would be great, I just thought about this, is have a buddy who's doing these practices with you. I mean, Josie and I have lots of buddies. This is how I kind of live. So I want a lot of accountability people in my life. My friends are my accountability. My team is my accountability. So choose somebody or start living this and be accountable. It's so like, hi, Josie, I feel myth number 3. Oh my gosh. Just saying it starts transforming it in that moment, because you're telling yourself a truth. Like, uh-oh, I'm spotting this. Where before,
identify it.
Yeah.
Right? And have friends where you can say this stuff and there's no weirdness.
Yeah.
Mica will totally call me up and she'll just lay it out truth. Like, this is what's going on. There's no judgment. And that's the most important thing. She doesn't self-judge. She's just like, yep, this is what's up.
Yeah.
And then she moves through it. Like, that's how you start to become someone who moves through it like this. And you don't get stuck in that state. Right?
Yeah. So let's talk about the going to bed. So so in all of these, you would identify, and then you would do an active antidote, which is usually giving gratitude, right?
We had here, so in the end, generosity, gratitude, and giving in action.
Yeah.
These are really the antidotes.
Yeah.
For most of these toxic myths and these scarcity states.
Yeah.
And watching yourself with your camera, do it.
Yeah.
Clean that at night and going into your state in that state of gratitude.
Yeah.
And kudos and thanking yourself.
Yes.
And really seeing the things that you have shifted and turned around and transformed that day.
Yeah. And I want to say I had one team member that fessed up that when she was doing the bed exercise, she stopped doing it because it was this, I should have given $2 rather than $1. Like that. And I was like, oh, okay. And no, you go back to, because that's just a pattern trying to live on, right? That's that myth or that pattern just trying to go, no, I want to be in charge. No, you just go, no, good job for giving that $1. So you just go back. So if that happens to you, just go back to, good job, Mica, you gave that $1. You shared that. You taught that class. You used that oil when you were feeling really stuck. So just take yourself back to that truth, that grace, that God.
Anytime you notice a state that's that is less than what you want it to be, and you do any action, you take out an oil, you eat a food that's good for you, you do something that is shifting that state. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. And the first thing is telling your truth that you're in one of these myths. It's okay. It's totally okay. So tell your truth that you're in a myth. Identify the myth that you're in. You guys will be identifying them all day long. It's going to be super fun. Actively antidote it. Don't think about it too much. Just do an active antidote, and visualize and keep doing it every day until we meet again. Okay?
All right. I'm going to end with the end of the sufficiency chapter, and it's kind of telling you what the rest of the book is about, what Lynn then goes into.
Okay.
It says, In these chapters ahead, we will establish the principles of sufficiency and the steps towards living a life grounded in sufficiency.
Mm.
In that context, we will look at money in a new way, look at money as a flow, like water, rather than a static amount of something we have to accumulate. We'll look at the power of what really makes things grow in value, depth, quality, and fulfillment through the action and potency of appreciation. We'll look at how existing resources, when brought together in collaboration, create a new source of prosperity. And we'll see how the principles or truths of sufficiency, which are consistent with the laws of the natural world and the deeper instincts of our own human nature, can be the new governing principles of our time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great chapter, but we will talk about that next time, though.
Yeah, so
water.
There, right. Oh, all right, everyone. So we would like you to practice the lying down meditation, which is really all day long, and read into The Soul of Money with Lynn Twist for the next 2 weeks. And then Mica and I are going to come back on Sunday the 24th, and we'll be back on the 24th and the 31st. So we're going to be diving then kind of deeper. If you want to purchase and order the Diamond Cutter book, we'll put that information in the feed, and we're going to be diving into that deeper next time.
Yep.
Right. Great.
Okay, bye. Thank you, Josie. That was so fun.
I know, so fun.
Yeah.
Right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.